Breaking news: the Chicago Bulls are calling up Zach Lavine from the Windy City Bulls to join the roster and start on Friday versus the Charlotte Hornets. Let's talk about two things. One, how this impacts the team, and ultimately, if you're on either side of the fence and being traded or not, what this could mean for both scenarios. Let's get into it right after this. If you're new to this channel, it's your boy P Kid from the Windy City Breeze coming to you on the official channel for our Chicago Bulls content, Chicago Bulls Breeze. If you've been rocking us for a while, you know we had to make this particular change. So we appreciate all of those who actually come over and watch this content. Who don't have not, subscribed. We appreciate it if you do. Let's get into the video real quick. Zach to be joining the lineup, and it's coming at an appropriate time, if you ask me. We've just came off two back-to-back losses. We seem to be reeling and going back into that trap of, mediocrity a little bit. Sometimes the Bulls would do it to you. I promise you, the PTSD is real. But ultimately, this allows two things, if you want to be honest. This allows for both sides of the spectrum to actually see what is what. If you are someone who wants to see the Bulls move on from Zach Lavine, you want to see what this new look Bulls would look like if we just added a couple other pieces from what some would consider a headache, then this is exactly what you want. You want someone who ultimately can get back in his lineup, build up his market. So you want to see some wins, you want to see some great individual play at least, and then you want to be able to say, hey, get the best deal possible. If you're someone who believes that the talent is here and we just need to manage it better, you now get to see what this team looks like with Zach Lavine being able to take up the step back, see what's happening, see Kobe White coming to his own. Kobe White's having a phenomenal run. Seeing what some of the other players look like, seeing what good ball movement can help, and buy into that particular program, you now get to see if that's possible. And if he does, maybe we can continue to string together some wins. Win no matter what, because ultimately the Bulls going through some injuries. Patrick Williams a little hobbled. Vooch definitely not there. He's a big part of our offense, especially on the rebound and tip and things of that nature. I love Andre Drummond, but offensively, Vooch is a better center. It's just different. I'm not gonna say better. So depending on the situation, you kind of need what Zach Lavine brings to the table if you want to keep your playoff hopes alive while still trying to facilitate any particular moves if that is your fancy. At this particular point, it doesn't really matter whether you want him traded or not. We know definitively it is not going to happen tomorrow, but at least we hope. Let me not say definitively. So we want to at least see if the Bulls can edge out a couple of wins. I am of the opinion that realistically this team has everything we need except proper management if you're going to do it this particular way. I think if you manage it appropriately and if you make one or two key changes, not something as drastic as trading Zach Lavine, but one or two key changes. One for me would be a pass first point guard, one that's more focused on facilitating and less focused on actually providing or scoring for himself. I just dropped everything in my pocket. Anyway, but with that being said, I want to see what Billy Donovan also does with this. I think Billy Donovan is going to play a huge part in the success of this because ultimately, while I love what we've seen over the last 17 games, I love who we've seen come on board, who we've seen actually rally the changes. I do know that we still need the talents of someone like Zach Lavine, and I still want to see how Billy Donovan manages that. Billy Donovan has been an interesting thing for me because some of his recent interviews have kind of hinted toward his tenure at his other stops. And I've told people plenty of times, I don't think Billy Donovan did much when it came to the people he had. He had generational talents that you just simply put on the floor and just allowed them to play. I don't know if he's actually been in a situation where he's had to manage on a high level a situation as tense as this, because once it really, really got tense, team anymore. And that's just my opinion. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not one that's on the Billy Donovan train as far as him being an excellent coach for this group of guys that we have. I am very much on the fence. I am very much reserved when it comes to that. And I do believe that a lot of the issues that we see with Zach Lavine comes with how he's managed that relationship on his own. I think Zach Lavine has had his own issues, but I do believe Billy Donovan plays a huge part in that as well. And how he chooses to hold people accountable and things of that nature. I just think it's a little weird at times how he managed Zach over others. And maybe he tried to motivate him in a different way. Maybe that was his goal, but I ultimately didn't see that. And so I'm really keen on that because I do believe that if Billy find a way to make it work, much like I said in the other video, like how Stephen A mentioned with Larry Brown in AI, again, not comparing Zach Lavine to AI, but just giving you the history of that. If he can find a way to make it work, then it's a win-win in the sense of we then start to string together play that contributes to wins. His market goes up. So even if you don't have any options by the trade deadline, you can at least start having those conversations in the offseason to make other moves to get this team where we want it to be. And if it does, and if that's not what happens, excuse me, and we string together some wins, we then know that we are starting to build something definitively. And maybe then we can start talking about continuity and things of that nature while still going to get that point guard we still need. I need AK to stop playing around with that. AK is on the hot seat with me. I ain't talking about necessarily being fired, but I mean, like, we're gonna start have to hold him accountable for how this roster looks because I swear we still got 3 shooting guards trying to do the same thing. Kobe White, Zach Lavine, and DeMar DeRozan. Those are all shooting guards to me. I don't care what nobody say, argue with your mama. But at the end of the day, there is still hope for this team, and I am hopeful that we can figure it out. Either way, I want the best for Zach simply because he was here during those years where we had nothing going. And I do believe any player who's here that, like, I love what Laurie is doing. I love the fact that he's getting his flowers. I love the fact that he got a chance to develop and really grow into that guy. I want to see Zach Lavine have the same opportunity to be that guy without any hindrance. And I feel like that hasn't necessarily been the case here. But I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear whether or not you all believe that Zach Lavine coming back is a positive. Does this help us increase his trade value? Is this going to be something that leads to us actually going on a particular run? Or is it something that is part of the course play, let's just make it look pretty packaged up so we can get him out of here. Whether you are on the Zach Lavine being a Chicago Bull train or not, I want to hear your thoughts. Put it in the comments. I'll be in there with you as well. Till next time. Peace.